Jake here. I got the shop truck on the hoist. I'm gonna go through it with you guys just because I lost all my content from a phone change. Oh, and I almost forgot. I'm supposed to start out patriotic and American. Wait, there it is. America, the greatest. But what we got going today, so we'll go through some of the odds and ends and unique things on the bottom of it to the top of it. And it has been through several changes since I first gotten it, as you can see here. We can go to the shop truck and I'll find a way to light this up and I'll be able to explain some of the crazy shit underneath of it. Going to explain some of the driveline, the engine, the trans, the exhaust system, some of the suspension and chassis work that I had done to it. A lot of this stuff was leftover, cheap, wanted to see if I could make it work. Everybody telling me I couldn't, or that doesn't fit, or they don't sell a bracket for that. And this is what it sounds like. I just changed the dual chamber 40 series for the single chamber 10 series Flowmasters. And it's not ungodly louder, but it's got a pretty good tone to it. You can tell the difference. I do some video recordings right here. This is the 10 series. Listen to the 40 series. And back to the 10. They're sweet. Also sneak a clip in of hitting the electric cutouts. The audio might not be the best. It is just recorded all on a phone. And the engine that I had built for it is a 1968 Ford FE390 factory crank. Did put the heavier 427 Cobra Jet rods in it with ARP bolts. New flat top pistons, 30 overbore, Edelbrock heads, intake, a Demon carburetor. It does have around a 600 lift custom comp cam. It does have a comp cam custom grind in around the 600 lift area. I do run a wideband air fuel ratio. It's like cheating tuning the truck. I have my business name on the side. Later I want to try to get it painted on there to make it look like it's been on there forever. It is an original Michigan truck with about 70,000 miles on it. It does show some rust here and there from the salt. I am going to be playing with a power adder here in the near future. Currently the motor being 398 inches, did dyno 650 rear wheel horsepower, which is pretty respectable for a 4,700 pound truck. And under 400 inches. And I'm hoping to acquire a couple more project trucks. If anybody out there knows of any, contact me, message me, let me know. Thanks. And there may have been a better transmission than a T3056, but for the price and to gain the knowledge on how to make something work, it's priceless. I mean, everybody out there is saying you can't do stuff, you can't do that. Can't do that. I guarantee it, prove it, I'll bet ya. I mean, bring them on. That's my favorite. The reason somebody likes saying something can't be done or that's impossible or they've never seen it is because they're lazy. I mean, ask them in detail. Some people can tell you, oh, I couldn't get something to fit or I couldn't do this, but look outside the box. I need to cut a bracket with a jigsaw, a piece of aluminum, thread some bolts in it, and make sure it's pretty straight. I mean, be creative. That's this truck. It's a lot of creative. Might not be the cleanest or the nicest, but it damn is one of the top best running. I mean, I daily drive it. I actually get upset when I have to take my other truck, my Silverado. One cool thing about the T3056 is they're reasonably cheap. You can go to any junkyard, get them for $200 or $300, since they can only supposedly be bolted to a 2000 and up modular motored Mustang. I ended up cutting it down to the case where the shaft comes out and making an aluminum bracket and hooking it to the original bell housing of the vehicle, and it's worked since. So after the whole trans fiasco and making a adapter so the trans would fit the FE motor, I quickly went through the Ford clutch, stock clutch. I think that motor probably made 160 horsepower. So the clutch I needed, they cost almost $1,000 for something that's gonna hold 600 horse, 600 foot-pounds. I found a center force dual friction clutch on Marketplace. The only problem was it was for a big black Chevy, but it was a 10 spline, so I thought, this is a 10 spline, it should fit. I was wrong. The splines are more forward on the Chevy clutch hub than on a Ford. So I modifications there, grounded off the front. It still left a 1.5 inch stub worth of splines that I had TIG welded to the back of the hub that everybody said won't work, that'll fail, that's gonna leave you stranded. As you can tell, I'm not that easy on the truck, although their videos show burnouts and donuts. I would say accomplished. It was 1 year ago. I was at this parking lot taking pictures of lowering the project. Here we are now, completely different color. Stamps. Been a lot of changes. Different motor, trans, toolbox works. That was always locked up, jammed, wouldn't open. But it's coming along. Except for stage 2 or stage 3. Install blower. And just about every night I take it out for a little road test so it doesn't turn into one of those do nothing projects. So I guess if we recap, we have a 1965 Ford F-250. Originally came with a 352 or 360 FE with a 4-speed, whatever, 4-speed manual trans with a creeper gear. Basic, I don't even know if it had a radio originally. And now it has a 1967 390 built. The wheels are 2003 E 250 or 350. Since I have a F250 8-lug. Steering wheel, because the truck one was so damn big. It's actually off a Mustang and it looks good. That was a 65 Mustang. Trans is out of a 2008 Ford Mustang GT. It's the T3056. The interior I still have to do, but seat cover looks decent. I threw down a rubber floor. The aluminum diamond plates, just because on that specific trans you have to mount it to something, the shifter, because they have them mounted to the body. And actually I forgot I bolted that down. That's my cup holder. That's off a T5. I just made that. It did light up. It's pretty cool, but the shotgun shifter is going to be way cooler. I got a bullet for a handle. The hinges quit working, and they're these little spring-loaded mechanisms that I didn't feel like finding, so I used earth magnets from Home Depot or Lowe's, any hardware really, for a few bucks for a set, and it actually holds the glove box very tight. I mean, I have done donuts, hole shots, it has not opened on its own. The dash ended up crumbling on me, the original, so I followed it as much as I could. But I've got newer gauges. I got a magnet up there for my phone for the mile per hour. Since I have a digital trans with a manual truck for the cable. The cowl hood I just built here a month ago. Gotta say the lettering does look good. that turned out pretty good. It's about a 4 or 5 inch cowl. It's built out of the hood. I cut it. I added these sides and angled them. A lot of research trying to figure it out and not making it look ridiculously stupid. I still have a lot of work to do. Got to figure out something in here, and I put this angle on here because it didn't look right flat. My squirters are probably ridiculous in there, but it's functional. It was an entire axle to a 2013 Escalade that got warrantied for who knows what reason. But I broke a drive shaft, actually several drive shafts in it. I keep twisting them into little pretzels. So I thought, what's stronger than an actual axle in the rear axle housing? So you can tell it's solid. I think it's about 2 inches. That's the splines from the one end that would go into the spider gears. And then that end went to the where the rotor and everything bolts on. After I was done, that's my 2-piece drive shaft. That one we haven't broken, spun yet, the original rear, but the front one we kept twisting into little pretzels. And now it's solid steel. We'll get a custom one made. The cap on the back, or bed top, is out of a 2003 Hemi pickup truck that does not fit right at all. But like I said, it gave me something to do, and it's a hobby. I'll modify it for days until it works. If I couldn't get it to work, it wasn't a lack of trying. It probably doesn't work. I have a fuel cell in it right now, so the tank's back here. Eventually I'm gonna make it fill from here, but not tank behind the seat. It'll be under the bed, and I'm just gonna run the plumbing to it, so it'll be safe. But let's see what this thing sounds like. That's actually, I just got pedals on it. Forever I've been running, the gas pedal was actually just a piece of steel, and it was starting to get so sharp not having a pedal on it. It wore through a few pairs of shoes now. So I gotta say, it is nice having a pedal. Oh yeah, I tightened up that shifter when I was doing maintenance. There was some bolts missing. A broken wire on the light. Alright, let's see how she sounds. Or let's go figure out why it's dead. Now I have it just about lined out. I've owned the truck for just about a year. Blown up 1 motor, destroyed 3 transmissions, broke 4 drive shafts. And now that everything's lined out with this specific package in it, motor, trans, even the tires this year are new, I've put 15,000 miles on it since the snow melted. I love driving this thing. It's fun every time I get in it and hit the go pedal. The rear, those Caltracs are amazing. I mean, it hooks very well. Back here I actually have a camera bolted to here going up to the dash. so I can see how I'm launching and what's going on with the suspension. If I have to make an adjustment on one of the bars, you know, something looks like the bolts are just literally falling out of it. And it kind of does catch traffic behind me. Not the best when I'm backing up, but you can see what's going on back there. It's been a really fun truck. My kid loves it. His new thing is burnouts. His new thing is burnouts. Some other fabrication and detail. I do have Project FE with $signs on the back, and it's not because I'm loaded. It's because everything on this truck seems to cost a fortune. I am painting the lettering. I just messed this side up, so wait till I'm ready to do it. It is very dirty, but custom roll pan. And I know people don't like them. If I would have had the original bumper, I would have never changed it. But somebody had like an Explorer bumper and everybody picked on it. So one day I got home, found a piece of steel that worked, bent it up. And this one's actually real metal. Stainless, because you can see where I've welded is rusting, or galvanized. I do have lights up in here. And then the plate frame lights up. But this actually would act as a bumper and help in a wreck over those fiberglass pieces of junk you see on them. A couple of unique things to an F-250. Toolbox on the side, which I'd like to find another one and make it match the driver's side, but when I got it, it didn't work. The floor was rotted out. I mean, it's dirty. I do use this as a shop truck, but I welded a floor in it. And actually it started here, so it was a very not real deep toolbox. I actually dropped it 2.5 inches. I mean, it protrudes the body a little, but it's actually much more usable. I put all my straps and jumper cables and adult beverages in there. The latch was actually messed up. I still have to fix it, but it had a hook and something device off of the handle. And I couldn't fish it in there or figure out how to make it work. And like I said, I gotta make everything if possible before buying it. So I welded these two little brackets on here, put a bearing with 2 washers and a cable that pulls on it, and it works very well. Other than this ugly nut, which eventually I'll find a way to hold the cable. Right now, I didn't care, I just wanted it to work. Some rust I gotta fix. It's an original Michigan truck. And the 445, I know it's a 30/390, which makes it 398 inches, almost 400, but the ultimate end game is a 445-inch FE motor in it, which I have the crank right there for. I have the rods right here. Yeah, see, everything's buried for it. And the engine block I'm going to use is right there. And yes, it's painted purple. It's already had a lot of the machine work done to it. I just haven't figured out what piston I want to run, if I'm going to do forced induction, which I know we're going to do forced induction. I'm just not sure if it's going to be a root style blower. I don't really care for the turbos on old school stuff like that. And some of the projects coming up recently, or here soon, because I can never just leave it alone. This is going to be the shifter, which is a 12 gauge shotgun. I made a custom handle for it since the butt made it too tall to shift. The bolt that holds it to this gun, I got a Kennedy gold dollar in there just to cover up the threads. But the coolest thing about it, it's a quick coupler. I wouldn't shoot a slug through it, but birdshot, you will be able to shift 5-speed manual in the truck with it, and also it should still shoot. I mean, birdshot, it'll quick coupler right off. Zombie apocalypse, you never know. Bad guy, you got one last hurrah. Thanks, Amy. This thing's awesome. And my buddy Brian blew it up for me. Got my cards in there with it. Jake's Auto&Fab. All that junk we do. Back of the card. Make your vehicle great again. Keep those things on the road.